Speaker, yesterday the Farming Minister told a conference of farmers that farming is not high in the pecking order for this government. Given the heartless family farm tax, is his minister correct? Yes or no?
Sure. It avoids repeating the same phrases, uses proper grammar and punctuation, and reads more like a human-written article, suitable for a general audience. The tone is informative and conversational, without using complex or overly formal language. Just a few days ago, something happened in British politics that has left people across the country feeling angry, disappointed, and even betrayed. Labour's Minister for Food, Farming, and Fisheries, Daniel Zeechner, told a group of farmers in Norfolk that farming was not one of the government's top priorities. That statement shocked farmers, industry leaders, and citizens alike. And it wasn't just because of what he said, but because of what came next. When Prime Minister Keir Starmer was asked in Parliament whether farming was important to his government, instead of admitting what his own minister had said, he claimed the opposite. He insisted that farming was, in fact, one of their top concerns. That's when things completely unraveled. The reaction inside the House of Commons was explosive. MPs, including members of the opposition and even some from Starmer's own party, couldn't believe what they were hearing. People started shouting.
Farming's top of the agenda as far as I'm concerned.
Accusations flew across the chamber. Cries of shame. Shame echoed through Parliament, and Starmer found himself in the middle of a major political storm. To understand why people were so upset, we need to look at what led up to this moment. Daniel Zeechner's comments came during a meeting with farmers people who have dedicated their lives to feeding the country and managing the land. They've already been dealing with enormous pressure, from uncertain weather patterns to global market instability. On top of that, many are worried about possible changes to inheritance tax laws, which could make it much harder for family farms to survive from one generation to the next. So when Zeechner told them that their industry wasn't a top concern for the government, it didn't just feel like a passing remark. It felt like a betrayal. For decades, political parties in the UK, especially Labour, have claimed to stand up for working people, rural communities, and industries like farming. But here was one of their own ministers admitting that farmers didn't matter that much after all. The farming community was outraged.
Not high in the pecking order for this government. Given the heartless family farm tax, is his minister correct? Yes or no?
Farming's top of the agenda as far as I'm concerned. That's why we put £5 billion to support farmers in the budget. They failed to spend free.
But they weren't alone. People across the country, especially in rural areas, expressed their frustration. For many, it was a clear sign that politicians were once again saying one thing before an election and doing something very different once in power. Now, Starmer had a choice to make. He could have owned up to what his minister had said, acknowledged the mistake, and promised to do better. Or he could try to cover it up by pretending it never happened. Unfortunately, he chose the second option. When asked about the issue in Parliament, instead of facing the facts, he said farming was actually at the top of his agenda. But by then, everyone knew what had really been said. The public had heard the recordings, read the headlines, and seen the reactions from farming organizations. His denial didn't just seem dishonest, it seemed arrogant. This wasn't just another political misstep. It was something much bigger. The Prime Minister...
Well, I think for a long time, they were considered to be the party of our counties and our shires and of the farming community. And I've got to tell you, over the last 13 years, they have completely demolished that reputation with the way that they treated farmers, the way that they've dealt with our food security, where, on one hand, you've got farmers who feel so frustrated that they haven't got government support. And if you're a consumer, you're going into the supermarket and seeing that shelves are empty. Why? Because the government are not on the side of farmers, they're not on the side of food security. And as a result, in the end, consumers
was caught lying in front of the entire country. And rather than apologize or take responsibility, he doubled down. That's why the anger in Parliament was so intense. It wasn't just about farming anymore. It was about trust, about whether the Prime Minister could be believed at all. The response to Starmer's remarks was immediate and furious. Inside Parliament, MPs stood up one after another, shouting at the Prime Minister and accusing him of lying. Many shouted shame. In unison, a powerful sign of how deep the frustration had become. Even members of his own party looked uncomfortable. It was clear that Starmer had put himself and his entire government on shaky ground. Outside Westminster, the farming community felt completely abandoned. For years, they'd been told that a Labour government would support them, protect their livelihoods, and understand the challenges they face. But now, they were being treated like an afterthought. And to make things worse, they were being lied to about it. A former Labour advisor even went so far as to say that farmers should be treated with a firm hand and weren't all that important.
So I want the Minister, Mr. Speaker, to look me in the eye. Sam Wilson is a farmer in Ashfield. He's not a rich man. In fact, he's not drawn a wage in the past 4 years. So I want the Minister, Mr. Speaker, to look me in the eyes and tell me how many farmers he's spoken to over the past few months that actually agree with this harebrained scheme.
Minister.
Well, the last farmer I spoke to over the weekend congratulated me on what we were doing.
Comments like that only added fuel to the fire. You might be wondering, why does this one issue matter so much? After all, don't politicians lie all the time? The truth is, moments like this cut deeper than everyday political spin. Farming isn't just another issue. It's the backbone of food security, rural jobs, and the countryside way of life. When a leader lies about something so central, it sends a message that everyday people, especially those outside big cities, don't matter. And beyond the specific issue of farming, this moment revealed something much larger, a growing disconnect between political leaders and the people they serve. The public is already cynical.
Farmers still get a privileged status for their farms, and I think that may or may not be right. I'm personally in favour of doing to farmers who want to go on the streets, we can do to them what Margaret Thatcher did to the miners.
So just to be clear, John, you would beat them up?
No, close them. There's an industry we could do without.
So, okay, all right. So this got weird. So you would do to farmers what Margaret Thatcher did to miners, which was, she used very heavy-handed police tactics, followed by what? Putting them out of business.
If people are so upset that they want to go on the streets and spray slurry on them, then we don't need the small farmers.
Right. Okay, John. I'm not sure that's a particular. You were, just to clarify, you were a former Labour special advisor, possibly emphasis on the word former there, but.
Many feel like politicians are only interested in winning elections, not actually solving problems. Starmer's decision to lie about farming didn't just confirm those fears, it amplified them. In politics, trust is everything. Once you lose it, it's very hard to get it back. And that's the challenge Starmer now faces. He didn't just say something untrue, he got caught doing it. On record, in the middle of Parliament. Some believe Starmer should step down. After all, if a leader can't be honest with the public about where their government stands, can they really be trusted to lead the country? Others argue that the public should hold him accountable in the next election.
We will fight till the death because we love what we do. We produce the food for those that are trying to tax us. And if they think that we're going to give up, we're not giving up.
We could stop the country, and I don't think they realise that. So we're not giving up.
We're not going to be able to afford to continue. The inheritance tax is going to finish us off.
All the honest, hard-working, easy targets, tax them, tax them, tax them, tax them, tax them to death. And it's not right.
This government is screwing the British agriculture, the fishing industry, the haulage, and all the power and infrastructure of the country. And without that, we can't continue.
What would you say to Keir Starmer if you could have a quick word with him?
I just wish he'd never been born. I can't stand the bloody man. He is the worst Prime Minister we've ever had in this country.
He's not listened to us. He doesn't know the struggles that we go through. He doesn't understand it. He's not tried to listen to us. He said that he's not going to tax the working man. Well, what is the working man? I don't think there's anything else to describe a working man than a farmer.
This inheritance tax has come in, has made things basically the last nail in the coffin. If this tax goes ahead, there will be no food in the supermarkets for them.
What do you say to people who say, well, everyone else has to pay inheritance tax, so why not farmers?
I don't know. I think we're farmers. We don't make much money. We kind of jog along as we are. If you want food, you kind of got to suck it up. It's one of those things. Obviously, I understand what they say, but we still pay a lot of tax. It's not like we just don't pay anything.
If people are unhappy with how he's handled the farming issue or any other major topic, they can vote for someone else. But no matter what happens next, one thing is certain. This moment has damaged Starmer's reputation. He now faces a serious challenge in rebuilding trust, not just with farmers, but with the wider public. His opponents will point to this moment again and again as proof that he says whatever is convenient, even if it's not true. This situation also raises big questions about the Labour Party as a whole. For years, they've said they care about rural communities, but recent actions suggest otherwise. It's not just one offhand comment from a minister, it's the broader direction of their policies. Many farmers feel ignored. They say the government has failed to listen to their concerns, offered little support during hard times, and now, on top of everything, tried to mislead them. This isn't just bad politics. It's a missed opportunity. In a time when the country is deeply divided, a real connection with rural Britain could be powerful. But instead, Labour seems to be burning bridges they may never be able to rebuild. Keir Starmer has a lot of work to do if he wants to regain the public's trust. That starts with being honest. People are far more willing to forgive a mistake than a lie. If he had simply admitted the government had fallen short and promised to do better, the backlash might have been smaller. But he didn't. He chose to deny reality, and in doing so, made things much worse. Now, the image of Starmer being shouted down in Parliament while cries of shame rang out may be one that sticks with him for a long time. It's the kind of moment that defines a political career for better or worse. So what should happen next? Should he stay on as Prime Minister despite lying? Can he be trusted to represent the people of Britain, especially the rural communities who feel left behind? That's a question only the public can answer. And many will be watching closely to see what Starmer does next. Should a Prime Minister who lies so openly be allowed to stay in office? Has Labour broken the promises it made to farmers and rural communities? Share your thoughts below. And if you're interested in more updates on British politics and how current events are shaping the country, don't forget to like this post, share it, and subscribe for future updates. There's more to come, and the next chapter in this story is just getting started.